Yeah guys, welcome to a new review. Today we're finally taking a look at Marvel Studios' Eternals. Having done YouTube for over 6 to 8 years, I have to say the universe has something against me. Because whenever I try to put out a video a little early, something goes wrong. It has always been that way, and yesterday I wanted to upload this review of Eternals and I recorded it and I could edit it, but then when I finished recording it and I actually didn't have time to record it again because I just had to edit, well, I forgot my card in my fucking camera, so I didn't record my screen. No, my body. So yeah, I had audio, but I didn't have a face, I didn't have any footage, so that was a bummer. So, well, today is the international opening night, so hello, welcome. So Marvel Studios Eternals is like the third movie of 2021 from Marvel Studios, existing in phase 4 of Marvel Studios, and it's like the 7th project already. I mean, Phase 3 had 10 projects in total, and we are still gonna get 2 more projects this year. And I just have to keep saying, are we being spoiled with Marvel content? Not spoiled about revealing some secrets from the movie that you didn't know and you haven't seen the movie yet. No, not that kind of spoilers, but spoiled about we're getting too much. I have been saying this a lot lately, and I think we are getting a little bit spoiled. The thing is, whenever there comes a year when there is no Marvel movie or no Marvel show or like only 3 or 4 projects, people are gonna get pissed. Remember in 2009, no Marvel content had been released and no one was complaining about that. 2020 came, and of course we had a pandemic and no Marvel Studios content came, and everyone was shitting their ass. And then 2021 came and we had like 8 or 9 projects and holy shit, we were being spoiled. I like it so far, but I do get why people sometimes get lost on what is happening in the MCU right now, because there is so much going on. I work in a movie theater, and whenever I saw the Black Widow post-credit scene when I was watching the room or the people watching the movie, because it's always fun doing that, it's especially fun with Venom, you know why. But whenever I saw that post-credit scene, and you know, of course, it's been half a year, Val is in that one, Val from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you could see maybe 2 or 3 people be like, oh, that's her. The rest didn't even know her. They were like, what is this? So yeah, are we getting spoiled on Marvel content? I don't know. I like it so far, but maybe we do. Talking about Eternals in particular, we have 10 new characters. And it's the one thing, and I'm gonna say this before we start, I love Marvel Studios for making this movie. Just think with me for a second. In 2008 or even earlier or 2010, would this movie have worked? Absolutely fucking not. Kinda like the same thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but slightly different because these characters are even more or less known than the Guardians were. And the Guardians were funny as hell and they had a talking tree and a talking raccoon. The Eternals don't have that. The Eternals is purely based on backstory, and that makes this movie necessary or unnecessary in the past, but now it kind of makes sense. I'm just saying that an Eternals movie would have never worked in 2008 or 2009 or 2010, but now it could, and that's great because Marvel Studios has evolved quite a lot, and the cinematic history of movies in general is changed forever by this movie. No, not by this movie in particular, but by the MCU. So you gotta love the MCU for what they are doing. And yeah, this movie in particular also had a really rough first couple of weeks in the critics. I'm not gonna go fully political on this one, but well, people are awful. There's a mute superhero and there's LGBTQ representation and people are review bombing it. Come on people, grow up. It's fucking 2021. Grow the fuck up. What are you trying to prove with review bombing a movie because it has a gay superhero? I mean, what the hell? The same goes for the critics. Get your straight white male 40-year-old ass off that couch and learn something about the world. Thank you. Okay, so the movie Eternals is very nice, I have to say it, but it's also long. Clocking it at 2 hours and 37 minutes or 2 hours 25 minutes if you don't count the credits and the end credit scenes. It's long. And yeah, it could have been a little bit shorter. I can't say it could have been half an hour shorter, but because it couldn't. But it could have been a little bit shorter. It didn't annoy me being that long because the movie itself is pretty good and the pacing of it is pretty good. But I can see for some people that this movie is hard to go through. And part of the reason of the length is flashbacks. This movie is filled with flashbacks and I hate flashbacks. There are only so many movies and so many things in series where a flashback actually makes sense for the story and is placed on the right moment. It's most usually the moment the flashback is placed that annoys me. In this movie too. I just hate it when a flashback with heavy information is placed right before the moment you need it in the future or in the present, because that's just lazy writing. And this movie, it has some of those flashbacks. They have flashbacks to just show what they can do with time and CGI and how they evolve with the MCU, and those flashbacks are great. But you also have flashbacks that tease some heavy plot details right before the moment you actually need them in the story, and they get fixed 2 minutes after that. I can't say it's plot inconvenience, but I have to say it's lazy writing. And those flashbacks also made sure that the time periods of the movie did not always work well, because we were jumping 1,000 years in a row in a time. We went from 7,000 BC to now to 6,000 BC to now to 1,500 BC to now to 1,500 after C. I don't know what the name is, AC. To now, to 6 days ago, to now, to anywhere in the fucking timeline they went, and sometimes it was like, where the hell are we? If you blinked at the wrong moment, you would have missed where we were in the history, and you could have made it. Well, you could have seen it coming when we saw what they were in, like Hiroshima or Babylon, but yeah. It's confusing with times. But all those weird flashbacks and weird moments and still a pretty good story made for a very well executed third act where I was really invested. I'm not liking the third act because of the characters, because they did something wrong right there. But overall, it has a nice thing. And how they ended the movie with some things that showed up out of nowhere for the plots, well, I don't know. I just think it's funny to know that there's now that in the world, and we are gonna see that again. I hope you know what I mean by that. And talking about the evildoers of the film, the deviants, they were fine. They were not special. They were not the most awful villains of the MCU we had. But I also didn't think they were special. They were more like an mild inconvenience to our superheroes instead of a big threat for them. Albeit they did some pretty serious shit in this movie. Huh. Mild inconvenience. The story gets 155 to 200. As I said before, there were a tad bit too many characters to introduce in one movie. We have our 10 heroes, we have Kit Harington, we have Karun, and we have some other people. Did we have some? Yeah, the Deviants. And it's not like they completely forgot about some characters, because everyone gets their moment of shine, and everyone shines at least for a minute in this movie. But they still did forget about some of the characters. And I know when you introduce 10 new superheroes, not all 10 of them can have the spotlights, but some of them really were sidelined to its core. We have like the two main characters, Icarus and Cersei, and they did great. They were the best characters of the movie. But you also have Angelina Jolie's Thena, and I did not like it. Sprite has a more prominent role, but I didn't like it. Kumail Nanjiani's Kingo, I loved that guy. He was like this in the movie. He did not do shit. I was kind of disappointed about how they executed the characters. It was not placed out so well. That together with all what I already said about flashbacks and being a flashback just before the right moment you need them, I don't like it. It's mostly got to do with the characters they have and the character relationships they are going to introduce in this movie. So they were 10 good characters, some of them better than others, but they could have done a better job with them. My biggest surprise of the entire movie was the fact they sidelined Ajak. I mean, they sidelined Selma Hayek, or how do you pronounce her last name? And Angelina Jolie. How do you do that? Characters 150 to 200. This movie had some really nice cinematography, and of course I always say that from more of the Marvel movies nowadays. But this one really had some nice cinematography. Mostly because it was real. Where the nice cinematography in other Marvel movies usually comes from beautiful CGI and beautiful paintwork, it's still a computer job. This time, it was real because they actually went to most of these places. Of course, they didn't went to space to fill a fucking celestial. But you know what I mean. Most of the more normal shots they made on location, because this movie is mostly shot on location. And that worked as a charm. It was really nice to see, and Chloe Zhao did a perfect job creating a nice cinematography. So it's not as CGI heavy as other movies until the third act where they actually have to use some CGI, but even then it's still not as heavy as other movies, making this movie more realistic and more fun to watch in a way because it's actually more refreshing. It's not that I hate it or that I hate other movies for using CGI that much, but it's a quite refreshing thing to see a movie from the MCU without all that. That makes that the CGI that is actually used in the movie is so great that you can't even see a difference between fake and real because they had to focus all their money on so many less scenes than in other movies. And about the runtime, 2 hours 37, it could have been a little shorter, but the pacing overall wasn't bad. It actually was quite good and the movie flew by. Style 140 to 150. Going for surprisement, this movie had some really nice moments in it. It had some really great plot twists, some things that I didn't even see coming, sometimes that I kinda did but still was surprised they did it. So I'm pretty amazed by how surprising this story is. It is predictable in some points, but overall it's pretty nice. Surprisement 70 to 100. Okay, and the acting goes a lot with the characters this time. Well, we have 10 great actors in this, but some of them are sidelined. And when you introduce that many characters, and I've said it before with the French Dispatch, you kind of want to see others more than you want to see the ones you see the most. I'm not the biggest fan of Angelina Jolie as an actress. I'm sorry, I think I'm the only person in the world that has that opinion. But I also didn't think this was doing her justice. I mean, she had so little to do in this movie. Leah McHugh did a great job, but I didn't like her character. Gemma Chan, or how do you pronounce her name? She did a great job. Richard Madden, great. Kit Harington, awesome. Kumail Nanjiani, perfect. And I'm not gonna spoil this, but there's an actor that will come in the first post-credit scene, and having seen that guy before and not particularly liking the guy for what he's doing, it had me rolling on the floor. I was laughing my ass off. I thought it was funny as hell, and I am so thrilled to see what he has to bring to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I welcome him, even though I did not like him that much before. Acting, 130 to 150. The critics were eesh about this movie. They give it 55 to 100. And I think that's too low. I go 35 to 50. Or 3.5 stars and a heart, 40 to 50. Granting Marvel Studios Eternals a total score of 775 or 7.8 to 10. Have you seen this movie, or are you gonna watch it in the near future? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really excited to hear your opinions about it. Did you like this video? Please give it a like. Did you like my channel? Please subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell for notifications. And if you want to see more of me, and if you want to see my channel grow, please consider to share this video with all your friends, because it really helps me out. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.